Tati recognized. Thank you for joining. Andisa recognized. Sia recognized. Members of Parliament recognized. All of you guys are recognized. Lindalani recognized. Is connecting to the audio. Everybody is recognized. Currently, we have 6 participants. I don't know if everybody's so everybody's recognized. Whoever cannot join us, guys, the contents of this lesson will then be made available for you guys on Call Campus. Now, let's continue from where we left off. Great. We were on section 4, which is the budget section, right? You guys still remember that?
Yes.
Great stuff. So now, when we refer to pre-production, production, as well as post-production, guys, where do all these amounts come from, right? So this 250,000 rand, where does it actually come from? Now, I just want to show you guys an example of what I mean by pre-production, where these things come from, right? To say, why do you want 250 for production? Why do you want this amount for production, 62,000, 61,200. Why do you want 385,000 rands for production? So let me just show you guys where these amounts actually come from, right? Let's do So I'm just going to open a budget. Why is it taking so long? You guys still with me?
Yes.
Great stuff. Okay, let's move forward. Great. So now, as you can see, there's 235,000 rands here for pre-production total. This is just an example, guys. Production total 385,000 rands, right? So let's just gather where this 23,500, or rather this amount here, which is 385,850 comes from. Now you'd go to section 1. Section 1, 2, and 3. Remember, this is triple P of the 5th component. So this is pre-production total, which is 235,000 rands. Now we go to the second aspect of production. So you break down every single thing that you're going to need for production, from the supplies to the equipment rental, from your sound, from your art department, how much everything is going to cost, from the location expenses, from accommodation fees, meals, phones, insurance. So you account for everything else that you're going to need and how long you're going to need it. The directors, how much is everything going to be getting, the talent and everything else. So on this section here, the production total will give you a total of 385,850. Now, this particular amount is accounted for from the skills development and everything else that is accounted for from the production total. So you don't just come up with this amount and just out of your head. No, everything must be budgeted for together with codes, right? Are you guys all seeing this amount? So when you go to this amount here and you click it down here, you'll go back to, let me just, we'll go back to, why is this thing taking so long? Yes, you'll go back here to production, for an example, which is the same amount, 385,850. So everything else that you account for must be accounted in your external budget, so that these people don't say, well, you're just coming up with amounts out of the top of your head. So everything is accounted for, pre-production, principal photography, as well as post-production. So that's a total that you'd be asking for when you have submitted your director's treatment, as well as a separate document for your particular budget. So this is the section of the budget section. If you don't want to create a budget like I did, I always prefer to create a budget. They give you items here, so you can add your own additional items. For an example, you can add whatever it is that you want to add, and it'll add it up all for you guys in the total in the section that you have here. If, for an example, there's details of other finances that you've gotten from different institutions, then you can name them here. If you've gotten them from BSASA, if you've gotten finances maybe from Boston Media House, then you write Boston Media House, contact telephone numbers, and then you can confirm all of that. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to give you finances, more finances, if you've got enough finances to produce your project. If you haven't received anything, then you won't write anybody there. If you've got the funders, you'd write the finances name. I wouldn't advise it for young people who are only starting with regards to finances. I wouldn't advise that, even if you got a little bit of change or funders, to put it down there, because the quintessential part is to acquire finances for your pre-production to actually take place. Great stuff. Now moving on to the last section, which is section 5. Now, this particular section, guys, will ask you for uploads, right? Here are a list of things that they will ask for you guys. So they'll ask you for a proof of your bank account details. I'm sure most of you guys have that. If you don't have that, open a bank account with your team members or your crew members, just a small bank account. Even if you're not going to put anything in there, it could be 50 Rand in there, but they need that thing, right? 2 recommendation letters. One of my students was asking me for a recommendation letter the last time. Get recommendation letters, because they will need recommendation letters to prove that you are truly maybe a student of Boston Media House and you are working directly into the arts faculty, so that they don't fund somebody who's not directly contributing to the economy or the creative economy in any way possible. They'll ask you for your certified ID copy. So always make sure that your certified ID copy is not older than 12 months. Are you guys noting these things down?
Yeah.
Great stuff. So they'll ask you for examples of your previous work and the involvement in the arts. So then this is why it's important to actually take behind the scenes, or if you're not taking behind the scenes, you can take URL links to productions that you've made. If you were in ETV, for an example, producing a show there, you can say, well, you can put your URLs there and they can access most of your work there, right? So you then always take accounts of the things that you create. Your curriculum vitae, start thinking about creating CVs. I mean, you're adults right now, profiles actually, not CVs. Don't just make these normal CVs that the CVs for people who are in the arts sector. So if you don't know how that works, check out how profiles look like, how bios actually look like, and create these things. They'll also ask you for a business plan. We'll deal with that later in the later stages of your productions, right? Capacity building. Capacity building is your corporate social investment plan. Your corporate social investment plan, they will find in your director's treatment to say how you're going to be contributing and changing people's lives. How will this money help people who are involved in producing this particular project? How will you benefit? How will we get money back? So what's nice about the NAC and bodies like NFVF is when they give you this money, they actually ask you to develop this money into something else. They don't require it back. It's not like a loan. It's not like an investment. It's a social investment into your own craft. So I urge excellence when you create content. I urge excellence when you create your director's treatment. I urge excellence in the content that you create and the teams that you make. Don't just make mediocrity stuff because you believe that you are in school, because it's such a competitive world and there's so many great opportunities out there for you guys, right? And then there's a detailed budget breakdown, which is an example of what I was showing to you guys right now, that has a pre-production stage, a production stage, as well as the principal photography stage, or rather the post-production stages. I hope that you guys are comfortable with this lesson. If there's anybody who wants to ask me questions thus far, you guys are more than welcome to actually ask me questions so that we can talk about these things. Others are called NFVF, guys. NFVF funding. There's so many opportunities for you guys. You're working in the film television sector. Check out the NFVF. if you've got time. Look at the criteria in which they are funding. There's so many bursaries, international bursaries. If you don't have a bursary as a student in Boston, apply for these things because they actually give you guys bursaries. They give you a lot of money to actually develop yourself, and raise money for your projects as well. Don't just require or think about how to make money only from grants. This is just one method of which you can acquire finances, but think creatively outside the box how you're going to raise money for your productions, because at the end of the day, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. In Hollywood, it's made a lot of billionaires, but apart from doing it for the money, do it for the passion, do it for the love, but think creatively outside the box. So think about, Google these things, guys. NFVF, what are the opportunities? What is the film library? Know about these things, check about them. If you want funding, you go about here, learn about development funding, festival attendances, festival hosting, pre-production funding, funding criteria, marketing and distribution, funding approvals, education and training and funding. So I encourage you all, you guys, to actually do these things. And I'm saying to you guys, the best production for this particular term, guys, I'm going to finance you guys to go to the 48 Film Hour Festival. So I want you guys, I'm just encouraging you guys to do the best that you can be, submit excellence all the time, so that we have a thriving industry that is full of technical competence and young minds and young creative directors, young broadcast journalists that want to contribute to this economy further and change people's lives through their narratives and through their stories. With that said, guys, I think that would conclude the quintessential parts of what we were discussing in this particular lesson. I'm looking forward to your pitches next week when we do meet. So I hope that you guys are still ready. I've been hearing some great ideas from some of you guys. So you guys will then organize yourselves into groups, pitch, start thinking about writing the director's brief and so forth, so that we get to the quintessential parts of these particular lessons, so that we can refine some of these things, guys. Nevertheless, hey, my screen is sorry guys about that. But nevertheless, does anybody have a question? Linda Lani, are you good from your side? Sia, are you good? Tati, are you good? Anybody with questions? Are you guys ready? Did you guys enjoy the lesson as much as I did? Let me hear your feels from everybody. Let's check in with Linda Lani first. Nati, I see you there. I see a sharp. Vishwan, cool. Sia?
Definitely necessary information with the funding stuff. Yeah, makes sense, and everything is good.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mabaso. Let's hear it from who's it? Mwelasi. Okay, I'm going to assume that everybody is on the right track. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson just as much as I enjoyed composing it for you guys. Looking forward to your pitches next week when we meet up. Blow me away, guys. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.
No stress.